Now let's talk about factors affecting the likelihood a competitor will take competitive actions. In addition to market commonality, resource similarity, and the drivers of awareness, motivation, and ability, other factors affect the likelihood a competitor will use strategic actions and tactical actions to attack its competitors. Three of these factors are first mover incentives, organizational size, and quality, which are described below. First movers are the firms that take an initial competitive action, either strategic or tactical. First movers are firms that have the resources, capabilities, and core competencies that enable them to gain a competitive advantage through innovative and entrepreneurial competitive actions. By being early, the first mover hopes to earn above-average returns until competitors respond effectively, to gain customer loyalty, thus creating a barrier to entry by competitors, and lastly, gain market share that can be difficult for competitors to take in the future. Consider the success of Harley-Davidson in large motorcycles. In the 1980s, Harley-Davidson set the standard for low, heavyweight motorcycles and has successfully defended its position by emphasizing its reputation and brand name. The firm trying to predict its rivals' competitive actions might conclude that they will take aggressive strategic actions to gain first movers' benefits. However, though a firm's competitors might be motivated to be first movers, they may lack the ability to do so. First movers tend to be aggressive and willing to experiment with innovation and take higher yet reasonable levels of risk. To be a first mover, the firm must have readily available the resources to significantly invest in R&D, as well as to rapidly and successfully produce and market a stream of innovative products. Organizational slack is what makes it possible for firms to have the ability to be first movers. Slack is a buffer or cushion provided by actual or obtainable resources that aren't currently in use. Thus, slack is liquid resources that the firm can quickly allocate to support actions that lead to first mover benefits. There are also dangers or disadvantages to being a first mover. It is difficult to accurately estimate the returns that will be earned from introducing product innovations. 2, the first mover's cost to develop a product innovation can be substantial, reducing the slack available to support further innovation. And lastly, lack of product acceptance over the course of the competitor's innovations may indicate less willingness in the future to accept risks of being a first mover. Second movers are firms that respond to a first mover's competitive action, typically through imitation. Doing so allows the second mover to avoid both the mistakes and the huge spending of the pioneers, which are the first movers, have time to develop processes and technologies that are more efficient than those used by the first mover. It also can respond quickly to first mover successful innovation-based market entries, and then lastly, rapidly and meaningful interpret market feedback to respond quickly yet successfully to the first mover's successful innovations. An example of industry dynamics and how a second mover can succeed is provided by looking at the competitive dynamics of the athletic shoe industry. New Balance is a second mover in the athletic shoe industry. It effectively competes against industry leaders Nike and Reebok by focusing on the needs of a well-defined market segment. New Balance products are not particularly innovative compared to industry leader Nike. New Balance is able to succeed by doing a better job of satisfying the needs of baby boomers whose ages are significantly higher than those of Nike's and Reebok's core customer groups, 42 compared to 25 and 33 respectively. New Balance offers a new model every 17 weeks compared to 6 weeks for most rivals. New Balance's success seems to come not from rapid introductions of innovative new products, but from offering high-quality products at moderate prices and by making them available in multiple lists, recognizing that many people do not have average feet. Late movers are firms that respond to a competitive action, but only after considerable time has elapsed after the first mover's action and the second mover's response. Typically, a late response is better than no response at all, although any success achieved from the late competitive response tends to be slow in coming and considerably less than that achieved by first and second movers. As late movers are the last to respond to the first and second movers' actions, late movers tend to be poor performers and often are weak competitors. For example, Avon was a late mover in e-commerce and Dell was a late mover in providing internet access. An organization's size affects the likelihood that it will take competitive action as well as the types of action it will take and their timing. Small firms are more likely to and quicker to launch competitive actions. Large firms are likely to initiate more competitive actions as well as strategic actions during a given time period. Thus, the competitive actions a firm will likely encounter from larger competitors will be different than the competitive actions it will encounter from smaller competitors. Large organizations often have slack resources to launch a larger number of total competitive actions and thus do. However, smaller firms have the flexibility needed to launch a greater variety of competitive action. Walmart appears to be an example of a large firm that has the flexibility required to take many types of competitive actions. Analysts believe that Walmart's tactical actions are critical to its success and show a great deal of flexibility. In other words, Walmart's competitive actions will be a combination of the tendencies shown by small and large companies. Product quality shapes the competitive dynamics in many industries. In fact, product quality is no longer a competitive issue, but a necessary and mandatory product attribute if firms expect to successfully implement any of the generic business strategies discussed in Chapter 3. Low cost, differentiation, focus, or integrated cost leadership differentiation. Quality involves meeting or exceeding customer expectations in the products and or services offered. Although quality is necessary, it is not a sufficient product attribute for firms to achieve strategic competitiveness. An acceptable level of quality merely provides firms with the opportunity to compete. Products and services must continue to meet customer preferences. Quality is as important in the services sector as it is in manufacturing. For the importance of quality to permeate the entire organization, a dedication to quality must come from the organization's top-level executives. Quality affects competitive rivalry. The firm studying a competitor with poor quality products can predict that the competitor's costs are high and that its sales revenue will likely decline until the quality issues are resolved. 2. The firm can predict that the competitor is unlikely to be aggressive in terms of taking competitive actions, given that its quality problems must be corrected in order to gain credibility with customers. 3. Once corrected, the competitor will likely act by emphasizing additional dimensions of competition. Indicated in Table 5.1, the quality dimensions of products and services differ slightly from each other. As presented, the quality dimensions of products are more objective or measurable, relating to performance, features, flexibility, durability, conformance, serviceability, aesthetics, and perceived quality. In contrast, the quality dimensions of services are more subjective, dealing with timeliness, courtesy, consistency, convenience, completeness, and accuracy.